to another video. My name is Infiniti, and if you don't know, I'm the face, the voice, and the hands behind all the content here under Infiniti Crafting Co. Welcome to another Crafty Corner episode. I've recently switched some things around in my studios, so this is kind of my corner now. There's other stuff in the other corner where I used to be, so you know, it's like that sometimes. Anyway, today I am here to introduce a new pattern that I have been working on. I actually meant to kind of do this last year in 2020, and like a couple of other projects, it got pushed to this year. So here, speaking of which, it's here. I just did a photo shoot with it today, so hopefully I got some decent stills out of that. The name for this pattern is still pending, but it's a toss-up between the chain link cowl and the silver lining cowl, you know. So you guys will know by the time this video goes up, because it'll be in the title and it'll be on the pattern release, and we'll all just have a good time. So mystery project for the win. I should probably be actually wearing the project just so we can have a little more impact, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, so here it is on. At the end of the video, I'll show you guys some of the stills from the photo shoot, and the pictures will also be up on my Instagram page. So if you don't follow me over on Instagram yet, it's Infiniti Crafting Co., just like the rest of my social media. Alright, so this cowl, right, like I said, I meant to kind of do this last year, because it was something fun and simple for the end of the year, and the whole thought behind it was, you know, usually around New Year's people go outside, they're sociable, they go to parties and things like that. I've never been a party goer necessarily. I'm very much to myself. I like being at home with my yarn. And so I'm like, you know what, maybe 2021 is the year and I'll go out and be sociable and live my best life. None of that. None of that. But I wanted to make the project anyway, because I do like to dress up on occasion, and so on that rare occasion that I feel like being extra when I go outside, this is what this is for. So I used 3 balls of Hobie's Metallico, and I really hope you pronounce their name Hobie. But initially I was going to design it in Lion Brand's Vanna's Glamour, but I think it's discontinued. I haven't really been able to find it anywhere. You guys can let me know down in the comments. Is it discontinued? Probably, given my luck with yarn recently. But anyway, but I definitely wanted a silvery, tinselly, metallic kind of material to work this project up in, just again because, you know, sparkles go with the end of the year, okay? It's just, I didn't make the rules, okay? So when I stumbled across Metallico, I was like, okay, we'll give this a try. And like usually with metallic yarns, they're usually a little underwhelming for me. And I'm not sponsored by Hobie, by the way, but when I was working with this yarn, I felt like a cat because it was so sparkly and so shiny, and I just could not put it down for the life of me. And I was like kind of doing this with it while I was working with it just so the light could hit it. It's so gorgeous, and this is what it looks like. I over purchased because I was not sure how you know, how far this was gonna go, but I used 3 balls of this. It's 125 yards per ball, so I did use 3 of them. I actually had some left over from the 3rd ball, but if you guys have been around for a minute, you might know that like once I get done with skeins, those scraps no longer belong to me or the studio. They go directly to grandma's craft basket. So, you know, rest in peace, remnant yarn. But yeah, so I was really shocked that it took so little yarn just to come out with this. And I used 2 different crochet hooks. I used a 7mm hook and I used a 5mm hook. Actually, I used 2 of my new hooks from the Christmas video. If you haven't watched that, it's over on my YouTube channel. You can check that out if you like. But I used those 2 mostly. So the body part of it, I used the 7mm, and I did a row of single crochets where I started to join the collar of this cowl, and I switched to a 5mm. Kind of drastic, I know, but I switched to a 5mm because I think ribbing comes across better when it's tightly knit or tightly crocheted. So I like how this part came out. I think if I did another one in the future, I would probably do some increases in the collar and just make it so much more, right? Be truly extra. But for today's purposes, this is really nice, and actually it's about 51 degrees outside, so I went out there with just this on for like 20 minutes and was just snapping pictures, and it was nice. Anyway, so it keeps you warm enough, but not too warm. And it's a thing for me with my accessories. I have to make sure they breathe because I get hot so quickly, and I want something that, you know, is enough to keep me, you know, moderated. So this was definitely that. And actually this pattern reminds me a lot of my fishnet shawl. It's very similar in construction, almost, but there are some tweaks to it. So I put this together in one piece, and then I went back and connected the collar, which is super cool. So yeah, you're gonna need 3 balls of Metallico. You're gonna need a 7mm hook, a 5mm hook, and of course your regular like stitch markers, scissors, darning needles, stuff like that. I did use freight check to weave in my ends as usual because I'm always paranoid about my ends. Always, absolutely always. So I know I made mention of this in the written instructions, but this pattern is expandable. So I wear a 1X for reference, and this fit me fine with just 3 balls. But if you bought more than 3 balls, or you plan on buying more than 3 balls, you can totally expand the body part of this pattern to any size you need it to be. So that also goes in the opposite direction. If you need to like shrink it down a little bit, that's cool too. I kind of like oversized accessories sometimes, even though this one isn't oversized on me, but like for small, like if I was a smaller size, I know I would absolutely love swaddling up in this. And the fun part too is this is actually kind of convertible, because on the front and the back you have this triangle shape going on, right? So if you didn't want all the draping and whatnots, you can bring the back to the front like this, and you can bring the front kind of to the back like this, and it makes a scarf. Okay, it's versatile. It's versatile, which is something I discovered totally on accident. So that was kind of fun, you know. It's like a 2-in-1 pattern. This pattern will be posted on my blog for free. But you can get the PDF version from my shop exclusively on my website. You can, I don't know when I'm going to put this on Etsy. I just recently did a shop update for Etsy, so if you do follow me on Etsy at Infiniti Crafting Co., I have updated it with like I think 9 more patterns, if I'm not mistaken, 9 or 10 more patterns, and that's just the haul from the whole year. And I put it over there probably the other day, so that's available for you if you want to check that out. Otherwise, you can get this one just from my website for now, or from the blog if you want to follow along. Speaking of my blog, guys, because I don't think I have anything else to tell you guys about this pattern other than it's super beginner friendly. Okay, now I'm remembering other points. It's super beginner friendly. It uses chains, double crochets, and single crochets, and a little bit of front post, back post, double crochet. That's about it. Alright, now that I am at the end of this video, I want to give a sincere shout out to all of my followers. Well, it's always sincere, but I want to just really drive this point home right now. And it's also story time, because Infiniti had an adventurous day while going out and doing her photo shoot. So, story time, right? A couple of weeks ago, I heard noises upstairs, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's the raccoons, because for the past like couple of years we've had issues with like raccoons finding their way into our attic. Don't know how, don't know why, but they get up there and they rustle around and play and whatever, and it sounds like people are upstairs when they're actually not. So, being in the basement, hearing those noises, it's like, okay, let me go up yonder and check some stuff out, right? And I did that, and I didn't see anything out the normal. I'm like, okay, it's just the raccoons. Okay. Cool beans. Today I went outside, did the photo shoot. That's why I'm all dolled up today, and, you know, recording, because I have to make good use of the makeup, right? So, I went outside, and I was doing my photo shoot and getting my stills, and I happened to see out of my peripheral some metal in the yard, and I'm like, metal? And, you know, long story short there, somebody legitimately stole our air conditioner a couple of weeks ago, and that concerns me. One, because the audacity, they were on my property, our property, my grandma's property. Two, that was like a solid maybe 2 feet from my bedroom window, you know, and I don't like that. You know, and it was a little bit, I was mad about it because I'm like, first of all, again, the audacity. Second of all, why? It was one thing that last year, you know, we had some bratty neighbor kid to come take one of our flower pots off of our lawn, chucked it at our door and broke it. Lovely. You know, I'm at a point, right, where I'm like, okay, you know, I love my city, but I've been missing the country side considerably, and now I miss it a whole lot more. It's so ridiculous now. We've never had issues like this as far as back as I can remember. And my grandma was like, you know, we've been in the house since the 70s, my family has, and it's like we've never had issues like this in our neighborhood. So I tell you guys this story because, you know, the enemy tries to be really busy when you are just kind of floating around and at peace and you're in harmony with the Lord and just living your best life. He just tries to chuck a wrench in there, and you can't let it completely upend everything, right? But it does frustrate you just a little bit. And anyway, I say this long story just to tell you guys thank you for watching my videos, for sharing my videos. If you're part of the newsletter, if you check my website out, if you buy my patterns, oh my gosh, thank you so much for your support over the last year. Oh, wow, the last year. Because that's kind of how everything's been working together and kind of got started, was over the last year. So I really appreciate you guys just kind of sticking around and being my audience and learning from me. I enjoy the learning and teaching experience as well, but it's like stuff like this. This is how I can afford to get my property fixed and like buy my textbooks and coffee and other stuff. So it's like, you know, I appreciate it so much. So if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Instagram, go ahead, give me a follow. You can check out my other social media. I'm on Pinterest and Facebook as well. Check that out. I'm also on Telegram, which I think I just put my handle in my Instagram profile, and I think it's linked in my description box below at all times, so you guys can check that out. I usually post kind of behind the scenes stuff on Telegram or just kind of ramble about stuff that's going on. Anyway, if that's your thing, you can check that out and follow that channel if you'd like. Anyway, I am going to hop off camera and go relax and finish typing this pattern today. As a matter of fact, when this video releases, the pattern will be available on my blog, so you guys can stitch this up for New Year's. It does not take long, maybe 2 hours at the most. So something quick, simple, and fun to do for New Year's. Alright guys, until next time, happy making.